Dear Paul AC, your shirt in last week's vodcast was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life and looked like Danny DeVito ate a walrus while painting on a roller coaster. Love, Jake.
Dude,
Did you get
you
that?
just sent me a mail.
I just commented on last week's on the vodcast, this podcast just now.
Wow. Hey, that's really rude.
I did what?
Hey.
No.
Dear Jake, we did not have a vodcast last week. Thus, your critique is totally 100% wrong.
Dear Paul, facts are the worst, and so is your mom.
Oh, all right. So, people, this is what we're doing now. We're going to tell you how not to be rude. Like
How
Jake.
not to comment like Jake.
You guys already do a great job of this, but we're actually just going to give you a few tips just because with you being on Facebook, Twitter, me doing a little bit of blog stuff here and there, we know a lot about comments. We've seen a lot of comments, and so we're going to talk a little bit about just how to write a good comment and how not to.
Plugged in tips.
That's right. So go for it.
Tip number 1, always compliment Jake.
Tip number 2, ignore everything that Jake says. No.
Tip number 3, if you're going to comment, stop. Write it. Stop. Telegraph it. Stop. Think about it and decide if it's really what you want to say.
It's just like a conversation. Sometimes when you're in a heated conversation, it's a good idea to take a deep breath and just sort of think.
So, taking a deep breath at your keyboard may look like going to get a snack, if you're me. So, tip number
Obviously.
4, have snacks handy when you're commenting on the internet.
Tip number 5. You want to say things nicely. For instance, when I say, Jake, your beard looks like an animal died on your face, that is rude. That is just rude. But if I say, Jake, I think your beard has some problems. Now, it sounds like me taking out the animal part of the equation was actually the most important part. Actually, it's me saying I don't think your beard looks all that great.
I don't think your beard looks much better than a dead animal.
Yeah, exactly. See how much nicer that is?
That was so much nicer.
No, because I think when you say an imperative, where
Right.
you're saying this is the way the world is, all of a sudden it cuts off all disagreement. When you say this is the way I kind of perceive this to be.
You like when stories have a little bit of gray area? Let your comments have a little bit of gray area.
Absolutely.
Tip number 11-7.
That would be 6.
11-7.
Go for it.
Tip number 11-7. Never forget where you're at in a tip video.
That's right.
Tip number 7.
Tip number 7. Again, I think that sometimes we just need to cool down on any comparisons to Hitler. No questioning people's salvation. That's usually a bad thing to do. So that's sort of 7 and 8. I took care of your tip 4.
You did. Tip number 9. Know when your opinion isn't necessarily going to be... Know when it's the right place.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes our opinions, as important as they are to us, aren't needed on specific topics.
Yep.
So-
And tip 10.
Know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
Yep. Tip 10. Last tip. Just be graceful. Graceful. You don't need to dance around your computer or anything like that, but actually just be filled with the spirit of grace when you're communicating with other people. Because, we're all people. We're not just words on a keyboard. We are actual people, and we all have feelings, and we all deserve to be treated nicely, even if our beards don't look the best.
True. So that is it for the plugged in top 10 tips for your internet comment section.
See ya.
Didn't say peace that time. I just flashed the peace sign.
Boom.